Welcome to the Agent from Within podcast, the only podcast that's here to develop the real estate agent as a human being, to help you get out of your own way, to actually align yourself to what you really want in your life and then build a real estate business around that. We have to focus on the person behind the strategies. Yes, this is going to be filled with tactics, business advice, amazing interviews. But if you're not in the right place mentally and emotionally, you will self-sabotage your business. You will chase, you will compare. This is about creating the best race car driver, not just the best race car. Any race car driver can jump into any car and win the race. We need to develop you as a human being. This is the only place that real estate agents can actually focus on growing yourself and growing your business. Cheers. We have Mark Wiens. He is a real estate agent out of Vancouver, but now he's a star of his own show, Vancouver's Next Top Agent. I got him on the show because he's got amazing character. I think he's a real dude. He's got balls to do what he's doing. And I think it was worth a call to bring him on and chat. And I just want to get to know you. I just want to meet you and hear what's going on. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your show and what you're up to?
No problem at all. Hi, guys. My name is Mark Wiens. I'm a real estate sales professional in Vancouver. As Ben mentioned, I have created a reality TV show recently. Now, when most people think of reality TV, they think of fake, and we are anything but. So this is unscripted TV. I had an idea in early January for a bunch of different reasons about creating a show. 3 weeks later, we started filming, and we've created something that I believe is it's as good or better than what's on network TV. And a big reason for that is that everything is real, everything is authentic. The premise of the show is that I'm finding someone to work for me, similar to The Apprentice, except it's actually real. But there's a lot of other benefits as well. Yeah, so when you see me making decisions in the show, this is real stuff. I do have to find a real person working for me. Yeah,
I've watched the 4 episodes that are available, and the 5th one's coming out, Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah. We have Wednesday's 5th episode, and then the Wednesday after, July 3rd, is the shocking season finale.
So Mark, like you're building a TV show, like
yep.
You're like, how is that being? Like, was it everything you expected?
Honestly, I didn't know exactly what to expect. I have zero TV experience. Now, myself and my director of photography have created listing videos for the properties that we are listing. We also did a couple fun little, we did a Christmas special and a Halloween special, but nothing at all on this scale. So going in, I had an idea of what I was going to expect, but I've learned so much from doing it. And it's kind of, we get to a point where we realize, hang on a second, we have to do X, Y, or Z. We have to find locations. We have to find props. How are people going to eat? We got to get contestants. How are we going to find them? And you're coming across these problems and then you have to solve them. So it has been by far the most, I'm almost speechless because it's been such an amazing experience. I've learned so much. It's also been extremely stressful. But I think with stress, you grow. And I'm so grateful that I did it.
It's a real personality type, like when you just attack it. I bet you that's what you do in many areas of your life. If you make that kind of decision, it's like an entrepreneurial, like you almost don't see the risk. You're like, you know what, let's do it. Is that more who you are, you think?
For the most part, yes. I sometimes build that bridge over water where we don't know where it's going to connect on the other side, and we're hoping it does. My director, Aaron, that I've worked with in the past, he's in the film industry. And when I first talked to him, he says, Mark, he actually honestly pleaded for me, not pleaded, but he said, you should really not do this. Because of the timelines we had to create an entire show, and we had 3 weeks preparation. And he said,
I love that. I love it so much because, man, you get shit done when I always say, if your personality is that you overcommit, man, you get stuff done, right?
Oh, 100%. And if it wasn't for that time crunch, I don't actually think it would be as good as it is. But he said, Mark, at the very least, you're spending 30, 50 grand. And there's a very good chance that not only will it be bad, but we just will not have what we need to actually make a show, and you have absolutely nothing.
So let me ask you this. So you're like, I'm a total marketing guy. I right want to analyze the angles and all the different things you're doing and the reasons and I right away want to leverage it and all this. I'm sure you've gone through this process. So this is from within. So yes, I get it. You're getting an agent, but what's the other side of it? So like, are you thinking you're going to get picked up by a TV show? Are you looking to be an influencer? Like, I know it's not 100% clear, but what's in the back of your imagination going, imagine if this happened? What is that?
So yeah, good question. Definitely, if we got picked up by a network, that would be amazing. That's not my primary goal. What I thought is, okay, yes, there's a lot easier ways to find an agent to work for you. You don't have to make a TV show.
I know, I
but
hear
actually, part of that is why I couldn't get the idea out of my head, because in a way, it's just so hilarious. And the other side is we've created basically a 6-episode marketing piece.
Yeah.
Everybody who's applied for the show is fighting for the opportunity to work for me. So the public, the viewer should say, what's so special about working for Mark Wiens? I'm not sure, but there must be something, therefore I should hire him. So there's that angle. But then there's also the other angle, which is, all these agents coming on the show, they're getting incredible benefit, incredible exposure, and it doesn't cost me anything extra. The properties that we are actually showcasing in the show, they're getting huge exposure. When I thought about it, there's so many people who benefit, including myself, of course. I just couldn't not do it. So part of it is that immediate benefit. And then part of it is, yes, longer term, we get picked up by somebody. That's great. What I really wanted to do is actually have a follow-up reality show where we're showing what my team and myself are doing on a weekly basis. As we've gone through the process, I realized, there's a lot of...
to do that, and to do it well.
It is. And I also didn't take into account just the emotional and psychological output. And so I'm not burned out, but I need a little time to recuperate before we launch that.
Yeah, 100%. And you're like just launching it now. Like we are literally not even launched. You don't even have a good analysis on the final. How did it go? How did the launch go so far? Like, how is it? Is it being taken well? But first of all, I've got to tell the audience, like, you got to watch this show for real. Like, and I'm not one to endorse a lot of things. I think it's so good. I think it's so creative for an agent to come in and do something completely different. I think it's just a matter of how you're going to leverage it and how you're going to maximize that. Because it could be just this blip on the map that cost you $100,000. And that's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is that everyone in the local area goes, holy crap, who is this guy? And somehow you got to leverage that, right? I'm sure that's what you're thinking.
Part of it as well is I do have a bit of a reputation in the industry and the public in general. The listing videos that I have created, I always have one version in English, one version in Chinese, and I happen to have white skin and I speak Chinese, which is...
And you speak Chinese? I
can.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, in Vancouver, it's huge. You have to...
And especially if you're dealing with the west side of Vancouver and the higher price points, it's almost a necessity. In fact, I was going to say that if you're going to work in that kind of market, you need to be able to speak Chinese because you need to be able to communicate with the buyers and sellers. If you can't communicate, you can't sell. But going back to the show and the leverage, again, everything that I create, I want there to be a fun side to it. I want it to be that anybody who watches it, even if they're not necessarily going to buy or sell real estate, that they get a laugh out of it. They get some kind of enjoyment. So and I think we can do that and we can sell at the same time. They don't have 100%. To be mutually exclusive.
That's exactly why you're sitting on the show, in my opinion, because there's too many, like I don't know if you know anything about me. I'm a real estate agent. I've got 6 people on my team. I also coach real estate agents. And the thing is, there's a lot of people that are too scared in this business just to be themselves.
Yes.
And that's like the secret sauce. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I can be way more knowledgeable against you with statistical data, but if you make them laugh, you win. Do you agree? Like,
I agree 100%. And that's, one of the reasons why I think a lot of people do not like realtors is they see real estate agents as being fake. And guess what? 100%. A lot of people, they are fake because they're putting out an impression. They think they have to be driving the Lamborghini or have the bikini babes or, all this. It's just like, it's ridiculous. Be who you are. And authenticity in the long term is always going to win out over some kind of tricks and sneaking something past somebody.
Yeah, it's funny. I love and that was my feeling why I thought that's where we're going to connect, because I'm like all in on that. That's why you win. Like, you walk in, you're like, this is me, like, for real me. This is what I do. But what's funny is I see guys, there's a guy in town here named Ben Lotz. He's kind of the Mark Wiens. I know they hate when people say that. But you just Google him. He's doing amazing video work that's freaking hilarious.
Awesome.
People try to copy his authenticity and it looks terrible. And it's funny, you know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, I'm going to do what Mark Wiens is going to do. Have you ever seen anyone try to copy your stuff?
I've literally had people send me videos of other agents where not only is it my hand gestures and actual word, hand gestures, words, all those things are actually being copied. And I just don't think it comes across. And honestly, like, you don't have to copy people. Be
You don't.
yourself. Like, yeah, if you're trying to copy me, it's not going to work anyway. So
Yeah, I know. Hey,
go for it.
I always say, like, people say you give away so much strategies and all this stuff for free. I'm like, yeah, you know why? Because you can't beat me if you're going to be me. I said, if I'm going to be me better than you can be me, I win. I can take all my strategies, but I'll be me and you try to be me. I'm going to win. And it's like, go ahead and take them, you know, but authenticity. So I love the fact that you risk it. I've seen your bare legs on TV, and that's coming out of the water. So we're, you know, like, you're showing it. But by the way, I got to tell you something, man.
Okay.
From a bald friend here, you've got fantastic hair. I'm just telling you, I'm not even joking. I used to have like dreads, and I used to have like, I was cool at one point, and now it's like, it's
kind of cool.
I feel pretty cool, but the bald is like, man, like, I own the bald really well, but you've got hair. I don't know. If I wore hair, that's how I'd wear it if I had hair. Just FYI. I had to call out your hair today. So
thank you.
Yeah. Kind of a nice point there for you. Like, yes.
No, I love it. I mean, honestly, the hairstyle actually changed several years ago, and it was for a few different reasons. I went to a new hairstylist. He's Japanese, and I just said, do whatever you think is going to look best. And he's like, you know, I'm going to kind of make it look a little wild. I said, if you think that it's the best way, let's just go for it. And he says, well, you might be embarrassed. Who cares? Let's just do. It's going to look good. It's different, and it's kind of a branding tool, to be honest. Like,
yeah, it's your thing, right?
Yeah.
No, I think it's cool, man. I think it's cool. Hey, got a question for you. As an entrepreneur myself, I run a lot of things. I have podcasts, national coaching company, online courses, and I've got my team running. I know what it's like to have an amazing idea and execute on it. But here's the thing. Did it distract you from your selling real estate? Like, did it distract you from selling and running your actual money-making machine? I'm just curious.
Good question. So the answer is yes and no. This process has been so intense, just on a psychological level, and then actually the time we're putting in. There was a point of at least a month where I was at my editor's place every single day, long hours, choosing what's going to get cut in. Because we have a story we want to craft. We have certain values that we want to have in this show. So my actual business practice, where we're helping establish clients, listings, buyers that we already have, not really. That was okay. However, I committed the cardinal sin, which is I stopped prospecting. And so now we're finished. We're like, oh my goodness, we have this great tool.
Well, there's a hole, right?
There is, and there's really not that much in it. I mean, I'm confident, you know, I'll pick it back up. I've done it before. I'll do it again. Yeah. But there's the cash you put in, and then there's the opportunity cost of the deals I'm not going to do. So you got to add those two together. Yeah.
I find focus. Like, I don't take too many deals anymore, because I realize if I take a deal, I'm busy. I just got to give it to my team. I just have to, because they're going to be better than me, even though I'm probably better, but not better when I'm not 150% focused. And that's where it's a self-awareness thing. But yeah, I just know, I'm like, I know what it takes to produce. And I'm probably not to the level even that you've done, but it's like, that's why we chatted before. I'm like, how many hours of video did you have to look through to get a half an hour session? You were saying something like 18 hours of video or something crazy to get a half an hour episode or something, right?
Well, actually, let's talk about 40, 50 hours for each of those episodes.
Crazy. And just people don't get it. And that's why I like to give a little bit of a recognition, like the commitment in hours. That's why I thought, I wonder how his other businesses running while he's busy. It's because this is what I deal with a lot of agents, is they start doing activities that don't drive business, but it's more like a long-term branding, and they're always long-term branding, and they're forgetting the old school going, I want to sell your house. Let me sell your house. Saying that 50 times a day, you'll probably make more money than any long-term branding. But you know what I mean?
Probably will. But I think,
go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, you know, that some criticism I've had about the show is people say, you know, Mark, face-to-face is always better than any kind of a TV show or any kind of a social media thing. And I would say, yes, it is. I mean, when you can combine the two, though, that's where you have amazing power. So yeah, it's not that it's, I mean, it did for a few months here, but other than that, the idea is, you have to be talking to people. You have to be meeting them. That bread and butter, that basic thing that no kind of technology or social media will ever take over.
I love that you say that, because you've got such a good brand, and now it's exploding, and it's all brand. And then now the salesman has to come out and just turn deals, right? Like, it's like, you got to, that's where your team is. So let me see here. So I was looking at your show, and there was like, you've got some characters, hey? Like, honestly, like the guy that did his preview video in his underwear.
Yeah. Toby.
I think you really like that guy. And then I think, and there's this, who's the other guy, the big glasses, the bigger guy. He's like he's gay.
Conrad or Connie. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. These guys are like, I think that's what makes a good show too, right? You got to have characters. And I think they'd fit your team in a way, right? Because they're your character as well.
Well, 100%. And they're all very different from one another. And they all have that big personality, but in the challenges, they all perform at one point or another. So you can see that, yes, they can have fun and they can be different, but they can also get the job done. And that's really important.
So tell me something about your show that we will not see, that you think, man, I wish I could have put that on the show. I guarantee you've got a few.
Well, we have filmed post shows and then also exit interviews with the cast.
Yeah.
So one thing I told the contestants is that, because they're taking a leap of faith, they're going to be on camera, and this, when they leave the show, they have to go back into their lives. And there are a few things where people did some things that I thought, hey, this is a little questionable. We don't show it on the show because that's not my shtick. I don't want to have any kind of negativity. Yeah. And actually, to be honest, I'm not going to mention it here either because
then let's pass it. I totally respect that. I got a question for you though. What was Mark Wiens as a kid? Because you were a character, man. Like, I love watching you online, and you're freaking hilarious. But a lot of those guys were either troublemakers or hilarious class clowns. What were you like as a kid?
Yeah, I was, for the most part, extroverted. I did get in trouble. Where I actually grew up in Vancouver, I was one of the only Caucasian people in my school growing up. It was always a very heavy Chinese side, which is one thing that inspired me to learn Chinese. So cool. Whereas a lot of other people would be really into studying and such, I really wasn't. But yeah, class clown maybe. I was always ambitious. I started, cutting grass and such, I think in grade 4 or 5.
Awesome.
And yeah, my classmates couldn't believe I was making $50 a week or something. I was the king.
It's awesome, man. That's like my kind. I love that. It's just, it's good.
I was always looking for more opportunities to do that. I had a lottery ticket business in elementary school in grade 5.
Did you steal lottery tickets and sell them? Like, how do you have a lottery?
No. I created my own lottery ticket. So I had.
Are you kidding?
I had pieces of paper, and it was kind of like a scratch ticket in that I wrote what they would win, and then I had whiteout over top. The old school whiteout. What? You could literally scratch the whiteout, and you could win a prize or whatever. And I was a little bit, I want to say corrupt, but so I'd give them out, and then I had a couple that I held behind.
The winners.
So there was one, I remember this, Danny in grade 6. He was saying, oh my goodness, why don't I just go to the corner store and buy a ticket for $1? I can win $10,000. Nobody wins your things anyways, of course, my favorite. And then somebody bought a ticket right there, and I pulled out the $3 winner or whatever.
Let him win. Screw you.
And Sarah Wilson won. It was amazing. And just the reaction just shut him up right away. So
man, that's awesome.
Yeah, Mark Wiens was more of I think an entrepreneur going out there, getting stuff done. And I made a conscious decision. I remember in grade 7 that no matter how uncomfortable I was going to be in social circumstances, I was just going to go through it. I was not going to back down, and I was just going to keep on talking to people. And that's actually one thing that I look back on. I remember exactly where I was sitting at that school, Sir William Van Horn Elementary, and I made that decision, and thank goodness I did.
That's amazing. So that had to be built in, self-discovered, man, because like most people don't think like that. And I think it's genius. Like I always say, embrace the pain. I always say, like, go through it, like, and just sit with it. Don't run from it. Don't do flight and fight. Just like go through it. I'm the same way. Like I remember my sister was heading to overseas for a couple of years, and we were close, and she was my sister, and so I stood on top of a table in the keg and wished her a good trip away, and everyone looked at me, and I'm like, I look back and I'm like, I don't know if I do that today, but like that's the thing. Like, I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, like, you go through shit. Like, once you figure it out, then who gives a shit? Like, who cares, right?
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I felt, and going back to my childhood, just thinking about, I haven't thought about this in a long time, actually, so I'm really glad that you asked this question. But
it's cool.
Yeah, everybody around me, I think partially because of some ethnic makeups and some other things, were very conservative, and I was constantly told, Mark, don't do this, you shouldn't be doing this. A lot of negativity about a lot of different things, and I actually realized later on, like, wow, it seems like whenever everybody's telling me not to do something, that's actually the signal that I should probably at least think about doing it. try it out, see how it works, and then, let the pieces fall where they do. 80% of the time is right, 20% is not. But you know what? If you
It's good
go
odds.
into something, it's pretty good. You go into something and maybe there's a reason that you shouldn't be doing it, but once you're in the middle of it, then you can adapt. Then you know why it's not a great idea, and then you can change some other way. So I think it's a win-win either way.
Yeah, I think it's hacking experience. It's hyperdrive experience. You're putting yourself in situations that don't just, most people gain experience by situations that come on to them. But if you run into them, you're gaining a massive amount of experience quick. Like it's so fast, just like what you just did with your show.
You have no choice. You're stuck in it. Yeah, you're completely right.
I love that. I'm the same way. I put myself in situations. I thought I'm going to go across Canada and do a speaking tour. So I went to all these different cities. I was out in Vancouver in February and did this whole thing. And I just wanted to see what it was like. I just did it. And then, man, I was tired after, let me tell you. And I realized I got to stop though. The guys, because I could keep doing that constantly. I could imagine you're the same way. But one thing I've known is that if I don't do self-care, and it takes a long time to get back from any kind of burnout. Like if you get really broken down and like you're describing a little bit to me, but you sound self-aware enough to be like, I need to do something. So like, I can't take on something new. I got to recover or else you're going to just burn. You're just going to burn out. Right. So but I love the idea of putting yourself into something that's almost too big for yourself and figuring it out. That's the funnest thing. You probably agree, eh?
Yeah.
So when did you join real estate? Like what's the story? Like, what's the backstory? What were you doing before real estate?
So I started and ran a landscape maintenance company, Wiens Community Lawn Care. I never thought of myself as being a lawn guy, and more as a business person. That's one reason why I put my full name in the company name. I always thought, let's brand Wiens.
Yeah, smart.
It was. I mean, sometimes I look back at a few decisions, like learning Chinese, putting my name in the company, and like a bunch of these different things. Like, wow, I've made a lot of mistakes, but these were some really good ones. So I ran that company for about 4 or 5 years, and it's almost like in the landscaping business, the more successful you are, the more you realize you have to get out, because you're 100%. Dealing, there's just not that big of a margin, and the people that are going to work for you are not that motivated. Of course, they're outside, it's raining, it's not that great, they're not getting paid that much. Yeah. And then I just, especially at that time, it was 2014, the market was on fire here. I mean, it got a little bit hotter later on. Yeah. And I was seeing all these real estate flyers and like talking to real estate people, and I was thinking, oh my goodness,
I could do
it. Not only could I do this, I guarantee you I can do a better job. Now, of course, grass is always greener on the other side. So there were certain things that I didn't realize, some of the challenges, but that was kind of what it was. And so we had a company that I think we had 4 or 5 different vehicles, and we had a big client list, making 6-figure income. It wasn't like, the path wasn't bad, but there was just so many negatives to it and so many better things on the other side in real estate that I decided to make the jump.
And so you jumped in. How did you choose your brokerage? It's a question I get a lot from agents that are new. Like it's almost like that's a weird game, by the way, brokerage and all that stuff. Like I personally am not into building one myself, but like you said, though, I could do a better job at a lot of them. Like it's one of those areas I'm like, man, if I had a brokerage, I'd kill it. But the thing, that's just that same kind of idea. So how did you choose your brokerage? And that's a question for people that listen that maybe, that's a huge question I see on the internet and amongst all the coaching I do.
Great question. So initially I was I'm all about branding and trust, and I was looking for a trusted name and someone that would give me some training going forward. So I joined a company on the west side of Vancouver. I've now moved on for a few different reasons, but I actually think it doesn't matter too much where somebody lands. I think that should not be the focus. The idea is, look, you are out there to promote yourself. At the end of the day, any brokerage is probably not going to do that much for you. Yes, they can provide an environment that's going to help you train, but the biggest thing is getting in there, contacting the people around you, getting out to those open houses, getting into the market, experiencing it. And through the experience, that you're going to get so much more training than sitting in a classroom and have somebody talk to you. Yeah. So the brokerage of life is the best brokerage to join, I would say.
That would actually be a good one. Like if you think about it, that'd be a really great brand, the brokerage of life. We're going to bring you in. You're going to pay me some money. I'm going to chuck you right into the system.
Well, and that's what sometimes joining a team does, right? I mean, some people say, 100%. Well, I don't want to have to split commission or this and that. But look, you're going to get experience and you're going to get paid. Experience is priceless.
Free education. Plus, you're plugged into full branding. You're 100
Yes.
miles an hour. You jump onto the train that's running already. Getting going
Agreed.
as a real estate agent, I think, is the hardest job, hands down. Just starting of an agent on your own, like the
Yeah.
amount of effort. I feel like it's like I always say it's like a rocket ship, because you have to put so much fuel just to get going.
Yes.
And that's what I feel like. Why do you think most of what's the stat? Like 8 out of 10 fail their first year, or something crazy like that?
At least here in BC, I know we renew our licenses every 2 years, and yeah, it's 8 out of 10 do not renew their license
Crazy,
after 2
hey?
years. And yeah, I bet you a lot of people who do renew their license, they just say, well, it's just making an application. It's $1,500, whatever it is.
Yeah,
We may as well just do it, but they don't actually do anything.
So tell me why. What's your thinking? Why do people fail their first year? Talk a bit about real estate here.
Yeah, there's probably several different reasons. I think a lot of people come in with expectations that it's going to be very easy, and then they realize it's actually not. You realize that, this is a prospecting business, right? It's all about getting leads, and it's all about being consistent. There is no magic pill. There is nothing you do once and it's always going to come. You have to keep on going again and again and again. And a lot of people don't want to do that. So yeah, part of it is they're getting in for the wrong reasons. And part of it is that it's way more difficult than they actually would think. And there's so much competition. I'm not sure what the stats are where you are, but here in Vancouver, we have over 14,000 real estate agents.
It's ridiculous what I already know. Like we have I don't know about just even Edmonton where I'm out of, it's like 4,000 people. Like it's almost like easy competition compared to where you're at. And I've done a lot of work in Toronto, same thing, 17,000, like unbelievable amount of competition. We should have a show called Behind the Suit.
Well, have you seen the behind the sticker BTS things I've done?
No, you know what? I haven't. I was watching all the episodes and I realized the other stuff there. So that's cool. Yeah. That's behind the scenes, kind of talking to them after and stuff, or is it something else?
There's two different shows. So again, BTS is always behind the scenes, and we give out the sticker and the sticker ceremony. So it's behind the sticker. And it's me just talking, hey, this is what was going on production that day, kind of like a 4 or 5 minute kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I only later on realized I should actually really be interviewing the contestants when they're. So we've been doing that the last couple times, and
love that.
Yeah, it's good. It gives them an opportunity to kind of say their last. We call it the last word.
Yeah.
And so they can say whatever they want to say about the show. And it just shows that we're all friends. Yes, they got eliminated, but it's all happy. It's all good. There's no negativity. So we left off at talking about Edmonton, 4,000 agents.
Yeah, Toronto had 17,000. The competition's way heavier. Yeah, like you got 17,000 agents that are working in your market. That's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. So you have to have your unique selling point. You have to know what your value is. And if you don't know that, you can't provide it, and you shouldn't even be in the business. But yeah, I think there was something like the first quarter of this year, we had something like 2,500 transactions. And again, you think, okay, there's 14,000 agents. There's 2,500 transactions.
Crazy.
Simple math. Yeah, a lot of agents are doing more than one.
Well, there's 80% does 20% does all the work, right? So you know that.
Yeah.
And that's, like if I'm doing this many, well, then I know that there's people's hurting. That's how I'm looking at it.
Oh, for sure. Sure. I mean, we do have a pretty good price point, even though our commissions are lower. So you don't need to do that many transactions to do okay.
Yeah.
But even then, how do you get business when you have no experience?
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. Like that's why team is amazing opportunity, right? Like I really believe, like I have team members, right? But I think there's two sides though. Like a lot of new agents will jump on a team, and I find the team lead is a snake. Or not just a snake. They don't know how to run a business. So what they do is just say, okay, 50-50 split or whatever, the 90-80, whatever. Actually, that math doesn't work.
Unless the seller's feeling very generous.
We're going to roll with it.
Yes. New business model. Good.
Yeah, I like that. But I see so many agents get burnt on teams. You see what I mean? Like maybe talk team a little bit. Like I actually have a question I wrote down like, what's some advice on building a team? Because that's a huge natural progression for an agent, right? You get busy, you're rocking and rolling. I want to build a team. I get that question a lot with the coaching clients. Lots. I want to build a team. Yeah,
I think that you have to go down to the very basic things and say, why are you building a team? And I think that if you're building the team because you're confident about what your own selling points are and you're willing to give and you're willing to train, then that's the way to do it. If you're doing it just saying, hey, I want to have other agents and I can take 50% of the commission or 60% of the commission, then you're not going to be providing them any value. No. And going back to this TV show, it all kind of ties in actually, where I was giving so many value to so many people. Again, the agents who are joining the show, the guests who are coming on, the people who are listing their properties who are being showcased on this. And it's the same thing with the team members. I'm able to leverage my brand, and I'm able to provide them so much benefit. And I'm so excited about doing that. So I think that if that's your mentality that you want to give, that it's always going to come back to you.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. And I'm the same way. They have to win. They just have to win.
Yes.
They got to win. Like I've had an agent on my team for almost 3 years straight, sells 50 houses a year. And it's like, why does he stay? Like that's the magic point. I think a lot of teams, it's like, how do you get someone to really value being part of something? And I think that's more what people are looking for than just, making a money or whatever. I think people want to be part of something really freaking cool.
I agree, that sense of belonging. And the cool thing, again, I keep on talking about the show, but all of the
That's what this is about, Mark. That's why you're here, dude.
Good.
We're not
just my hair.
And your hair.
Good.
I didn't want to make it all about your hair, but we could. I bet you could get on a hair podcast. That'd be a good ego move for you, right? You're like,
that would be amazing.
So just so you know, I'm doing a hair podcast. Is there such thing as a hair podcast? I would look it up.
I will be Googling that very shortly. But sorry, going back, I got sidetracked with my hair now. We were talking about
team and
right.
Yeah,
being part of, that I was talking about how, all of the agents in the show, like we have a WhatsApp group, it's very collaborative. Everybody's,
cool.
People are asking questions, people are giving answers, and it's very supportive. And it's a very cool thing because, some people got eliminated after the first day.
Yeah.
And some people the second day, the third day, but there's been a bond and we're all going through this experience together. I think that's what people want. They want the support. They want to, just feel like they're part of something. And when you're on a team, as long as the team is being run well, then you definitely are. And they want to feel valued as well. They want to know that their contributions, not only are they getting
100%
monetarily, but they're appreciated. And I really think most team leads that I see, kind of what you were talking about, is they're trying to take.
Yes.
That's never going to get better. As long as you're giving, you're going to be okay. Like the specifics, you got to sort out depending on your marketplace and other things. Yeah. But as long as you're to give, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, like totally, man. I think the minion model sucks where you're the one guy and you got a minions. And that's what I feel. Like I see pictures. There's this one lady that has this big chair and then all her agents around her. I'm like, what is this? A fucking I'm like, those people must just feel like, why don't you just have them fanning a big fur leaf or whatever? And it's like, man, those people must feel like when I take group pictures, I actually try to be not center on purpose. Nice. Okay. Like why? When I list all my properties, I'm the second agent and I let them be the first agent. I let them have the name on the sign. I'm the bottom hanger. They're the name on the sign.
Awesome.
So I do things really, really like that because I think that's why why would you not let them build their own brand on my brand? I'm not insecure. Like I know what we have. Yeah. Most guys are insecure, I think.
I would agree, and it's all complementary. Again, if you know the value you're going to provide to them, there's no problem with them making their own brand. In fact, there'll be some synergy and both people will win. And the more ownership somebody has over a listing or over a buyer's thing, the more they're going to put into it. So it's a win-win-win-win-win.
So how many team members do you have on your team, Mark?
So this TV show is basically to create the team. I have worked with other people in the past, and it's been partnerships, and it just hasn't worked out for a bunch of different reasons.
Yeah.
This is the beginning, and it's going to be amazing. And we're going to start off on the right foot. And
that's awesome, man. That's exciting. It's cool. That's really cool. I really like that. I think that's cool. And I actually don't believe in partnerships too much. Yeah. Like 50-50 stuff is not in this business. Like it's just hard to when you're making, that's a huge amount of money you got to make money.
Yes.
It's just way too much. Like $1 million is $500,000 each. 100 is 50-50. Like you can't even live. Like you got to be able to build. That's the one thing. I'm not a big fan of it. Like you got to produce massively if you got two people.
Yeah. And what I've found before is that when there's two people and it's 50-50, inevitably the other side will kind of say, pull back a little bit. And then you also have to be completely aligned on your values in terms of how are you going to market the property, how are you going to market yourself. And there's a lot of time and effort that goes into making sure that that's the case. And that's not providing any actual value. So I'm with you 100%. For some people, I'm sure it works, just not for Mark Wiens.
Yeah. Or Mr. Ben here.
Mr.
Okay.
Ben.
Yeah. So
I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Osterveld.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oosterveld is what everybody says. So I'm not that guy that corrects people. I actually feel like I don't like that style. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
actually, your grammar. I'm like, what do you mean my grammar? Like, is that you really think I'm going to say thank you? So like,
Yeah.
someone says Oosterveld, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So here's a question: if the right person was listening to this show, okay, the right person, whatever that means for you, and they offered to help Mark Wiens, and they said, what would you want to ask for?
Sorry, how are they offering?
I don't know. And now my question's not as good, you know? No.
Sorry, I just want to get the
I thought I had a good question. No, I'm saying if someone was watching your show and he's a guy that's got some way to help you, and he goes, hey, how can I help you, Mark? The right guy, the guy that would help you for real, not just someone like who just wants to say hi, but like if the right guy, maybe a network guy, maybe a real estate guy who owns 50 properties. I don't know what you want. So what I'm trying to get at is if someone's sitting to the show, which does happen, and I believe in intention, I believe that you need to put it out there sometimes and be like, hey, look, if this guy was there and he wanted to do this, you never know what happens. I like to throw it out there because you never know about getting lucky.
Heck yeah. Actually, as you rephrase that, I know exactly what the answer is.
Good, let's hear it.
The answer comes down to, I'm going to preface this by saying my goal for this is about creating value. It's about getting more exposure for so many different people. It's about changing the industry for a positive.
Awesome.
It's about changing every single person who watches this show, which means we need more and more and more people to see it. So if the right person came around, I would say, get me in a place where I can help more people, whether that's on network TV, whether that's a bigger presence on YouTube, whether that's a speaking tour, whether that's, I don't know exactly what it is, but get me in front of more people doing what I love to do and helping and just adding more happiness in the world.
Cool. So that's really cool, man. Like you got it's obviously what you want. I feel like that's your thing. Like there's certain personalities that are like, it's like, I imagine you pushing that lawnmower or shovel and you're like, I'm made for more. And I can relate to that, Mark. Like that's why I keep swinging. That's why there's something in me. You know, I feel like that's what you were saying when you were saying, I looked around and I'm like, I've got something here and I need to employ it to somewhere else. And I think you've seen your success as a real estate agent, but then I have that sense that you're like, there's more. Do you feel that way or am I way off here?
No, 100%. I mean, I always, even when I was cutting grass, honestly, I'd look back and I'd say, man, that lawn looks so good.
Yeah.
So excited. And honestly, I'm excited for that homeowner to come home and see those crisp.
See the lawn. Yeah, I love that. I did a little lawn cut myself. I love those lines, man. It's all about those lines.
And it's instant gratification, right? You're in and out in 20 minutes and it looks fantastic. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know what I'm going to do in the end, but I know I want to just keep on doing more. Some people may say I have an ego, but I have an incredible talent and an incredible passion for helping others. And I want to make sure that's employed in the best possible way.
Like ego is weird. Like it's people look at you and you look too extrovert, too much believing in yourself. Ego is if you're a dick. You know what I mean? And if you're like, I'm so much fucking better than you. Like that's what, like, I believe like I'm really good at what I do. And what happens when I believe that I got an ego? Like, I think there's a line there that we have to just know in our heart that we are absolute good human beings. And then no one else can say anything different. Do you agree or like? I
agree 100%. And there's this challenge or dichotomy between being humble and then also saying it how it is, but how great you are. So
yeah.
And I find that, I was at a gala event for a refugee settlement organization last night. And somebody, I had cards. Of course, I'm always promoting the show. I'm always promoting myself, passing the cards around. Say, oh, a YouTube show, I bet you it's, whatever. They don't think it's be that great. And I start talking to people. I say, honestly, it's an amazing show. It's essentially, well, I don't know about a work of art, but it's pretty close. It's my life's passion. And I know I come across sounding really egotistic, but I'm not at all. I'm actually being humble here. But this is what it is.
I can tell, Mark, I wouldn't have called you. Like, I feel like I felt the genuine on your videos. I felt like you're promoting yourself. Of course, who freaking cares? That's awesome. I promote myself too. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's the I want to portray myself way better than I really am, or am I really good? I just want to be good. Like, you see what I mean? Like,
there's a difference.
There's a bit of a difference. So I got another question for you. So here's just some interesting questions.
I love that question, by the way. It actually made me think, and that's
cool.
An amazing question you can do.
Awesome, man. Yeah, good questions are like that. I love that too. Like you think about like a good question, you see someone sell, and they ask very good questions.
Agreed.
Very good questions.
I think I'm coming on the show to give you something, and you're actually giving it to me. So, I guess it's mutual. It's amazing.
Oh, you just getting to know each other, man. Just having a chat. I love that. And promoting your show. Like I think it's worth promoting. And I think that's what we're doing. So if you had $100,000 to give away, okay, you have to give it away, and you can break it up however you want. You can change your answer tomorrow, but what would you do with $100,000? Because things change, but
what would I do with $100,000? Wow. What would I do with $100,000? A couple different things. I'm kind of torn in a way. Like I said, I was at this gala last night. We hear some just horrific stories about refugees fleeing everything in terrible situations, and how they actually really don't need that much to really establish themselves. They want to do that. So I think even though it would be given to me, I'd want to give at least some of that away. At the same time, I feel like investing in myself is a great opportunity, because I can take that and turn that into something so much more. So probably if I had $100,000, I would find a way to promote this show better. And I would just try to keep on promoting those values that I feel are important. And I know that's very.
What are those values? Let's break it. So it's not
good.
Let's break it into something actual. Like, what is these values? Why is so important? Like your values, you've mentioned it a few times. What are those values?
The values are always it's always giving, not just taking. It's creating more value. Like I look at a lot of the way that real estate sales professionals market themselves, and it's a lot of again, it's not a lot of just like static pictures or. Well, let's put it this way. Let's back up a little bit. I do a ton of sponsorship of Little League Baseball. All the Little Leagues in Vancouver have at least one or two Mark Wiens teams. I show up with my cotton candy machine for the community events, whatever.
Cool.
And one of the reasons I like doing that is because, yes, it's a promotional tool, but at the same time, it is it's giving back, and it's adding some value. What I would love to do is show more people in business that there is a different way of doing business. You don't just have to put your money into advertisements or whatever, that if nobody sees it's kind of wasted. You can actually create value at the same time.
Totally.
And I would just love to go on a bit of a crusade and really just help people do that. That would be amazing.
Man. Yeah, I love that. We're definitely on the same page, man. Like I'm obsessed with it. We when we close a house, we roll out a red carpet. We have champagne. We literally have a red velvet rope with a sold sign. Awesome. And then what happens is the conversation behind our back is our brand. So we're obsessed on our team. So that's how I judge any bit of marketing I do. What conversation is happening behind my back?
Right.
And that's like so when someone goes, oh, I'm going to put an ad on a bus. Okay. So what are they going, and is it world-class? So like, are they saying like, oh my goodness, I saw his bus. Oh, no, they're not. But at the red carpet, they're going to tell their friends to fire their real estate agent and hire me. And so, and that's what we're talking about that's what I feel like that in this industry, it's like, I know what you want, a pen with my face on it, right? Like nobody cares. So I think that's what we're saying here is like, there's ways to do it. Which I think creating an experience and something worth talking about, like cotton candy at a ball game, that's worth talking about.
I would agree 100%.
And it's about the kids, not about you. That's the kid. That's the trick.
Exactly. And I think when people see that you're again, I keep on talking about this. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but when people see that you're giving value to other people, they're very attracted by that. Partially because a lot of people can't really understand that mentality. And so they want to know more. So this show, we're promoting so many realtors. Are they paying for this? No, they're not. They're getting huge exposure. People don't understand it. Cotton candy, we're giving to the kids. Is this 5-10-year-old going to buy a house? No, they're not. In 20 years, might they? Maybe. But I mean, that's a bit of a that's
a long game. That's super long game. I like it. I like it though.
Well, I would say that's long game. It is. I mean, that's not a game I'm playing.
But that's not the intention. I get that.
No, it's not. Not at all. It's about marketing to other people and showing, hey, look, we're providing more value. And guess what? When we're listing your house for sale or we're working for you as a buyer, we're going to be exhausting every single opportunity because this is the most important financial transaction of your life. And I take it as almost a sacred opportunity. We can't screw up. The risks are too high. We're going to do absolutely everything. And we're going to bring a passion to it that I feel is almost unmatched in this marketplace.
I love that, Mark. It's so true. People will hire you because how they feel.
Yes.
I think I didn't even know what you said, but I'm ready to buy. You know what I mean? Like that's that feeling.
Sending the dog.
Like, can I buy something? Yeah. It's like, I've got it. Your assistant has it already. We know the system have it. But but it's true though. I think that's really important. And I think you can't have that passion, that confidence, that certainty is that that energy match is so important. And that's, I think it's like a superpower, to be honest.
Yeah.
You walk in there like, well, like you're done. Like you're so done. Just walk in there, be you. And that's where that energy comes from. Okay. So another question here. Who's the most impactful person in your life?
Wow, really getting into deep stuff.
From within, man. This is nothing. You should listen to some of the other shows we've done. I'm giving you an easy show. I'm giving you an easy ride here for the first round.
I should have been watching. That's not good. I'll make a note here. Most impactful person in my life, probably my mother. Probably an answer that a lot of people give, and the reason for that is, without getting into too many details, she's got 5 kids, 5 boys. I have 4 brothers.
Cool, man. Cool.
It is, and with
all boys. Wow.
All boys. And she's had to deal with a lot, and yet she is constantly giving, constantly. She's in a great position, and she just gives so much, and it's really amazing to see. So I'd say my mom. Mike Myers as well. I mean, that's a bit of a
Mike Myers. Okay. Yeah, so why Mike Myers? That's interesting.
I watched Austin Powers probably about 15 times in the theater.
Literally, this is making sense.
Yeah. In fact, I probably, hang on just a second here.
You got one.
So I'm in my apartment right now, and on the side, I literally have 2 copies of Goldmember on the wall. Here's one.
Wow.
The VHS. Just this idea that he's going to just go out and have a great time, and I'm sure he's loving everything he's doing in these Austin Powers movies and wherever. And he's getting paid to do it, and everybody's winning. And again, anything that I want to do, I want to make sure there's fun involved. If there's no fun, so awesome, I'm not interested.
So awesome.
Yeah.
And that's inspiring for me too. Like I sometimes get pretty serious, and it's like, I've had a troubling past, like a tough childhood, and I've actually lived on the streets and all kinds of crazy story.
Wow.
So something like that has shaped me where I didn't have a childhood. So it's something I actually practice going, I got to have fun. Like to me, it's a little dysfunctional, because I'm like, okay, let's get to work. Let's build a business. Let's do this. Let's culture. Let's blow their minds. And my kids, like I got to connect with my kids, and I have to and that's where my wife is she's the complete opposite. She's like fun on everything. And I'm definitely coming a long ways, but it's inspiring to hear that. And I think that's really cool. Really cool. And it's good for me to hear again.
Right.
One thing you'd change about the real estate industry?
Probably 2 things, actually. I'm cheating. One thing would be, again, there's a lot of real estate agents, when they market, they're coming across very, very egotistical. And I think that the public sees that, especially in a place like Vancouver, where for a bunch of different reasons, a lot of people in Vancouver the last 10 years have seen their ability to buy a house go from it was possible, and now it's just impossible. And that's actually, they will never be able to buy.
Yeah,
it is
totally.
what it is. Yeah, and then they're bombarded by, again, these pictures and images of the guys in the sunglasses.
Yeah, I know.
Luxury and this and that. And the public cannot help but feel jealous or just feel negative in general. And we're bringing it on ourselves, and then we wonder why the public hates us and they want to regulate us more. And anyways, so I would say, guys, and I know we already talked about this, have a softer image, show who you actually are, what your actual authenticity. And then the second thing, I said 2 things, now I forgot the second.
The first was so good, right?
Yeah. Hang on, what was it? I might come back to it. I gotta make a note.
Sure, no problem.
About that.
So tell me a story about a funny situation, because I've got one I'll share too. It's about when we're showing properties or listing properties. Tell me the one time that, like, I can't believe that happened. Like, I'll share mine, and then it'll trigger yours.
Yeah.
So I'm showing properties, okay? And there's this old man and old woman and woman, and they're wonderful people. And I'm showing them, we're in the basement, and he starts farting. And like, it's like, so and it's like, and then what thing is though, they didn't actually recognize that they farted. See, it should be like, oh, excuse me, or like, let's just address it, because I'm starting to think this is funny. And I'm like, this guy, and then it's like he's just farting continually now. And so there's an old guy, the wife doesn't say anything. They're just like, it's got beautiful windows. And then, and I'm like, I'm trying to hold it together. This guy's farting through the showing. So these are the things we run into as real estate agents. It's like the weirdest, that's nothing compared to some probably. Like, I'm thinking that was a weird situation. I laughed after. I was like, that was the
Yeah.
He's just passing gas for his whole showing. I'm thinking, okay, they're cool with that. I don't know
And
if I
it
should
just never got
start.
acknowledged. You just start.
I thought, well, if you're doing it, like I don't know, do I join in or like I don't, what's my move here? I don't know. But yeah, like at least just say, yeah, I farted. Like just at least tell me. Like,
Yeah.
anyways. So Mark, what's a story that you've run into? It doesn't have to be a disgusting one like mine, but
Yeah, the one thing is, there's a story I'll tell, which, sometimes when we're in business, we do things and the chances of success are so incredibly low that it's almost not worth doing. But then you got to look at it and say, does it actually take any extra effort? No, I may as well do it.
take a swing.
Okay, so I had a townhome listed and I was going around the area to promote the open house, just knocking people's doors, giving out flyers. And I was walking down the sidewalk and there was 3 Chinese women walking on the sidewalk. I stopped them, greeted them in Chinese, asked them if they wanted to come to the open house. They took the flyer, they walked off. Didn't hear anything about them. We actually sold before the open house happened. I listed another townhome in that same complex a couple months later. One of those women actually came in, they bought it right away. The agent who was dealing with her told me that they had actually never walked into the complex before. They didn't realize that these townhomes existed. And when I had given her the flyer before, they had actually gone to the open house. Of course, it was canceled. And then they called their agent and said, what is this place? He told her all about it. When we listed another one, the agent told this woman, she came in, she bought it immediately. That's right before the market actually went down significantly because they had a foreign buyer tax come in.
Yikes.
And he said, if you hadn't have stopped her on the sidewalk 2 or 3 months before, or whatever, they never would have bought. And again, because of the market going down like that, we got, I believe, a significantly better result because of that. So again, what are the chances of that happening? Next to zero, but it did. And you never know unless you actually take those chances. It took me an extra 5-10 seconds to greet them. It really doesn't matter. Was a little uncomfortable.
Now,
sure, who cares?
your story is so good and very businesslike. Now my story looks terrible.
No,
I just told her
better,
a passing gas story, and you tell me how going after a client, and I'm thinking like, well, now I got those ones too. Like
next time.
Yeah, next time. Okay, cool, man. What I usually do when I round out the show is almost every guest, I always say, why don't we flip roles here for a second? And why don't you ask me a question? You don't have to, but is there a question you would ask me? We don't know each other. So I throw myself into the ring and put myself on the table as well. So if you have a question to shoot me, I always ask that from everyone that comes on my show.
Sure. You've probably addressed this in other podcasts, but I'll ask you anyways. You talked about how you did your tour to many different cities, and obviously we're actually filming. I know you messaged me. We were filming at that time, so I couldn't come out. What was the main? The 2-part question. The first part. What was the main purpose for doing that? The tour.
Going across Canada for the tour. Yeah. It's marketing exposure.
Yep.
I ended up having, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of people interact with me. When I'm on stage, it's my favorite place to be. So I really build my life going, where's my best place? Because there's a lot of shit I don't like to do, and I'm at 50% when I don't like to do it. So I think I want to design a life where I wake up and I'm at my best. But I think we have to create that environment. So I thought, you know what? I had some time. My team's running really well. So I literally just started putting myself out there. I've had a following for a while, and I went for it, and it was really cool. And so the other thing was I started a Agent from Within Academy, and I wanted to try that. So I'm kind of like, try it and adjust, like Microsoft, right? They launch something and they're like, let's see how it works. Okay, let's adjust. I'm always adjust along the way.
Awesome.
So the reasons were, I had done a lot of speaking before, and man, it's like when I'm on stage, there's something that happens to me, and I see the crowd. Like I had standing ovations in every single city. It's definitely the place I need to be. So I think, how do I do that? Plus, leveraging the real estate audience. I'm a different guy. Like I'm talking about life. I'm talking about living on the streets. I'm talking about real connection to your clients, blowing them. Like it's a different. So I know I've got something different. I wanted to see how that would take. And it took really well. And I filled up my academy. Like I got about 40 people that signed up for a monthly fee, and I coached them online. And I ended up launching a higher price. It's called Business from Within VIP Mastermind program. And there's about 14 people, and I'm coaching them. So that if you're just going to speak, first of all, I love it. I just love it. And I think there's something that kind of flows and you just get in the zone. I think you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
when you're in the zone, there's this magic place. You're like, oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to live in that. And then, so why go across Canada? I had good audiences. I'd never done Vancouver. That was a harder one to promote, breaking into there, but we hustled and we got I don't know how many people were in the room, but it was cool. Like, and now it's back to doing some real estate and see what's coming up next. But no, if you're speaking and you're just speaking, that's cool, but it's such a great place to connect. And then I think there's got to be something, my opinion, from a business guy and from a strategist and a marketing guy, there's a great way to take that to do something with it.
Right.
And if you do nothing, that's actually kind of cool too. Cause I didn't offer, like, I literally dropped the note at the end of the speaking. Oh, by the way, there's this academy, because everyone now in speaking is leveraging audiences to get high priced. Like, you get them in the zone, free ticket, then you pay $1,000 to get to the next one. Then they upsell you to and they're like manipulating, like beyond manipulating. So I'm kind of changing the game where I'm just giving value, and I leave and they're like, what the F just happened? This guy's amazing.
That's exactly what I would be doing if I was doing that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would. But to be smart about it, then what? So I like the idea of having some kind of like long-term relationship building, like process. I love coaching, working with people, just love it. So I'm building toward that. So eventually I won't do real estate. Like, so my game isn't real estate. I became an agent. I became an agent because I was coaching agents. So it was a little bit of a different beginning, but yeah, that's why I went across Canada and did that. So speaking is easy. Like, you can get a speaking career going and make 10 grand, 5 grand, 30 grand on different speaking engagements. But the problem is it's a way to go broke too, because you're traveling, you have to travel like 40, 50, 60, 80, 90 times. You're burnt out. And what do you do? Now it's a machine. You're speaking about the same shit. You're doing the same talk. Like, I feel like I got to be inspired, you know?
Yeah. Amazing. And the second part of that question, actually, I'm putting you on the spot again.
Go for it, man.
Awesome. Which is, you went in with that idea. Obviously sounds like a great experience. Was there any like paradigm shift or any big breakthrough that as you were doing it, something clicked and you realized, hang on a second, there's something else I have to be doing, or there's some other passion I have, anything like that at all?
Pretty down the road with like self-discovery, like really far down the road.
Okay.
And so when I went and did that, I learned a lot. I learned a ton. I learned that I did it all on my own. I think I wonder what it would be like if we put a couple other people on stage. I wondered about just the marketing, how I did. I went old school, grinded out. We had some Facebook ads and I just promoted. I used my own network and filled it up, gave away some free tickets to some key individuals. Like, I was just completely focused and stimulated. I've got like everything was really cool. I brought red carpets with me. Like, the whole thing was so exciting. It's like you doing your show in a way. Like, I was just so focused on it. But big breakthrough moments was like, I think not on this round. I've had them though. I've had them because 5-6 years ago, I did a speaking engagement for about 50 people. One of my first ones in this industry in Toronto.
Okay.
And that shook me because I hadn't done it. So it'd be like you going, I'm going to start speaking. If you aren't speaking, that moment where it's like, I did my workshop and we did some feedback videos, and every single video said, this is the best workshop I've ever been in my life. This is the best workshop. And I was just over and over. I'm just like, shit. I think I'm like, and then it was like, I flew across the country to do a speaking thing. Like, I started feeling that, like, that's when I was like, this is cool. Awesome. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. So that's, but I always be patient. I just be patient. You got to be patient and always move toward the target. That's all I say. Like, I want it now, but sometimes I can't have it now. Like, I got 5 kids, man, and I got a life. And so,
got 5 kids.
Yeah, that takes a lot of my time. So that's the story there. Yeah, no, and really what it's about is literally about, like, what do I want in life? Well, one thing I do want is I want my wife, and that has to be part of my plan.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through it. I've been crazy ambitious, like #1 overall in everything I did. And at the end of the day, my wife almost said she's going to leave me. And I sat down and I'm like, I'm doing this for you. That was a paradigm shift, going, shit, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me. And so I took 2 years to figure that out. And then my kids were like, I need a new daddy. And like, I went through a tough road there for a few years back. And I'm just like, wow, what do I really want? I just would love to have a wife and kids. And I think and I'd like to help people. And so it's like, well, what's the point of being like rich, famous, and lonely? So I really like, that's literally the core values of everything I teach. It's like, let's build a business that serves what you want. Most real estate agents say, I don't know what I want, or they think they do. And they don't. They're like, oh, I want to buy a house, get a rental, like, that's what everyone else is telling you. What do you want? So, so that's where it's like, I take my time. I'm extremely driven, but I take my time.
Okay. Wow. That's amazing.
crazy answer, but that's
No, it's a good answer. It's inspiring. And I think you're right. A lot of people do have that mentality. They think they're doing it for one thing, but it actually is
yeah. And that's the being crazy honest with yourself. That's like the number one thing. If I work with anyone, like I gotta see, like, are you like, do you just deadly honest, like just not judgment, but just deadly. Yeah, I'm a bit fat. Yeah, that's true. Like, it's just the honest. No, I'm husky. No, you're fat. Like, it's just like there's yeah, big boned. I tried that one. That doesn't. Yeah. I am bald. So, but that's why coming back to you, that's what I'm seeing on your stuff. To be honest, my external opinion, and I don't know you that well, but it definitely feels like now that I get to know you, that your values are in those moments. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, sure, you want to be Mark the entertainer, you want to be Mark the promoter, and that's amazing. But I really feel like that value comes through your show, your videos. You're not just a funny clown. Like, you've got something there. You know what I mean? That's my opinion, and I think that's that values that maybe that's from your mom, and that's pretty cool. And that's my opinion anyway. So that's me getting to know you. Might change tomorrow, but that's where I'm at today.
Never watch my stuff again.
Yeah, we're good. Wrap that out the bowl. So
awesome.
So Mark, honestly, man, really great getting to know you. I'm sure we'll stay connected.
Yes.
I really appreciate you coming on the show. I can't wait to start promoting it and getting it out there. Probably be in a week or two. We'll launch this probably near the end of your finale, and we'll definitely got your back on it, and we'll stay connected, man. Thanks so much for being on the show.
That'd be amazing. Thanks for having me. It's been actually a really good time. And again, I feel those questions that you asked me has actually started stimulating some thoughts. So amazing.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Well, I'll just end the recording now.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks, man.